Recorded live from Space Coast Podcast Studios in Melbourne, Florida, this is The Cannabis Report with Michael Patterson. Brought to you by MGMC Pharma Group, where we make a difference. Check out the virtual tour of our cannabis cultivation facility on our website, mgmc-group.com. Now here's your host, Michael Patterson. Hey, how's everybody doing? So happy to be here on our third show.
I lost Trace.
Yes, I lost Trace. And so today's show, we're going to be talking some great pharmaceutical information regarding CBD and CBD products with a great lady named Iris Benkovic out of Inacan Pharma. She's going to be coming in live with us from Israel because we're worldwide. And so definitely having a good time with the show. Feedback so far, you guys have given us some good feedback, things to make better, things you want more of, things you want less of.
And we heard from Mom.
Including Mother. Our mother called us. What did she say?
So Mom's from North Carolina, and
Yes.
that's where we're from, a town called Burlington. And so she said that we are twins and we should dress alike.
That's what we did when we were little kids.
Right. When we were little kids,
Right.
we did. So I was like, I don't know about that,
Not
Mom.
so much.
But she did say that we need to look at the camera. She saw episode 1, and we
Yes.
were not looking at the camera.
If you're watching on YouTube.
If you're on
yes.
YouTube, if you're on the podcast, we
Right.
look better on the podcast
We look
than
great
we
on
do
radio,
on
yes.
YouTube.
Mark
So-
has a face for radio. By the way, if you're not familiar, we're identical twins if you can't see us online. And so Mark is our producer
Right.
of the show, and I'm Michael, the guy who's running the show.
Right. The name of the show guy. There it is.
Exactly. So with that, so definitely excited to be here. Our show, we want to give us a little piece of every aspect of this cannabis industry. As you all know, cannabis is now the hot topic, where before 8 years ago when I got in, and I know Iris will have some shows, some input on that and on the evolution of how people look at cannabis, moving from something that people want to get high with to now we really realize the medicinal aspects of this. And so with that, we want to get into the news and different things on cannabis. And so I'll turn it over to Mark.
It's time for Cannabis News.
Cannabis News brought to you by ICS, or Integrated Compliance Solutions, and its merchant processing division. Greenlight Payments are the industry leaders in banking and payment processing solutions for the cannabis industry. Since 2014, ICS is used by more banks and more cannabis-related businesses for their compliant cannabis banking needs than any other solution provider in the industry. For more information, go to icslv.com. All right, Mike, the first story, we're going to Germany, Hamburg. That's near Israel, sort of.
Not really.
Much closer
Not
than
really.
Melbourne, Florida.
Yes.
Nearly 1 in 10 patients with Parkinson's disease report using cannabis products to alleviate Parkinson's-related symptoms, or PD-related symptoms, according to a survey of German patients published by the Journal of Parkinson's Disease. A team of investigators affiliated with the University of Hamburg conducted a nationwide survey of over 1,300 patients. Described the study as the largest ever undertaken to assess PD patients' perceptions regarding the use of cannabis. Nearly 10% acknowledged using products containing THC or CBD to both mitigate symptoms of the disease. Over half of the respondents reported clinical benefits due to their consumption of cannabis products. No surprise there. Rest of the world's waking up. Patients were most likely to report marijuana-based products relieve pain, depression, stiffness, and improve sleep. Responders were more likely to report benefits of products containing THC, shockingly, than those consisting of CBD only, and results suggest that cannabis might be helpful for selected PD patients with insufficient symptom relief despite their usual anti-Parkinsonian medication. So, Mike, just another study showing the benefits of cannabis.
Well, and there's been a lot, and we'll get with this with Iris when she comes on, about Israel is the mecca for cannabis research. And so what we do see in the United States, 35 states now are medical cannabis is legal. And out of all of those 35 states, some have not written all their diagnoses. Parkinson's is actually a covered diagnosis in every state except Oklahoma, because Oklahoma has 0 qualifying conditions, which is a good and a bad thing, and that's not something we can get on with right now. But you're going to see Parkinson's. I think we've seen this one study. There's dozens and dozens showing that cannabis does help Parkinson's, and a lot of that is dealt with the endocannabinoid system. It's a system that we have in our bodies that allows us to accept cannabis as a medicine, and it actually decreases inflammation across the body, and so it definitely shows a benefit. So we see this to be just showing us what we kind of already know, but it helps the pharmaceutical world start to see that as well.
Well, from Germany, now we move to Mexico. Mexico publishes medicinal cannabis regulation, creating a new market. Mexico's health ministry recently published rules to regulate the use of medicinal cannabis, a major step in a broader reform to create the world's largest legal cannabis market. The new regulation was signed off by President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Say that fast 5 times. And now will allow pharmaceutical companies to begin doing medical research on cannabis products. The regulation is not aimed at patients growing their own cannabis. It's aimed at pharmaceutical companies producing pharmaceutical derivatives of cannabis, which are classified as controlled substances that need prescription. Now, while some cannabis plant imports are permitted for companies looking to create products, export of Mexican-grown cannabis is currently prohibited. Now, Mexico's lawmakers are also in the final stages of legalizing recreational use of marijuana, with the bill expected to pass in the next period of Congress. So, Mike, biggest market in the world, and it's just south of the Rio Grande.
Yeah, and so what you're seeing is Canada was, and I love Canada. Hey, I love you guys.
I love Canada, eh?
There's nothing wrong with Canada, but Canada only has 37 million people.
Right.
And so it was a great way to bring it in the market. It's still the biggest companies in the planet, cannabis-wise, are in Canada. I know that Iris will talk about their company is on the publicly traded markets in Canada and Germany. But Mexico is going to throw things for a loop in a positive way, because what that's going to do is going to put pressure on the U.S. government.
Right.
And so there's more and more challenging, because bringing product in legally in from Mexico into the U.S. will eventually, I see Mexico being a provider of cannabis for the U.S. when we go legal, because when the U.S. goes legal, currently 10% of states that have recreational cannabis are using 10% of the population use cannabis on a monthly basis. So if you take the population of the U.S., which is almost 350 million people now, 35 million people overnight theoretically are going to need product. And so Mexico, I think, is going to play a major role in that. Also, what you're going to see is companies around the world reaching out to companies in Mexico to be able to help jumpstart this, to get medication in a proper form on the shelves for actually Mexican citizens in pharmacies. So I expect that to happen a lot faster. One of the beauties of the system is, as we move forward, more and more countries and more companies have already gotten their have done the due diligence and done all the heavy lifting, so to speak. So now we can move this forward quicker in new countries, and I expect Mexico to be able to benefit from this technology and this innovation and this knowledge that we've acquired over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, to be able to make them have a viable market quicker than any other country before them.
But it's just going to be a domestic market, because they said they're not going to be able to export. So I find that very...
That'll all change.
Oh,
because remember, they just got to get their feet wet and get off the ground.
Right.
And then after that, you'll start to see, when the money starts and the U.S. goes legal, that policy will change. I have no doubt.
Well, yeah, and then the pharmaceutical companies could build facilities there and then distribute it in the United States, just like the car manufacturers have done.
Or what you'll find is people cultivating, and they segment it, so they segmentalize, or you'll have cultivators only in Mexico, and then you'll have processors to bring it to process in Mexico to a raw form, and then they'll ship it into the U.S. to refine it. Okay. So you'll see something like that. So almost like oil, when you have raw crude, right, you ship it somewhere to refine it, and I think that you're going to see those refineries in the States to fine-tune it, as well as you'll have groups out of Israel who will be shipping product into Mexico to be refined in Mexico. So there's a lot of different business models there that we see starting to take off with the segmentation of the industry.
From Mexico, we head back over to Europe, France, to ask public opinion on recreational cannabis. The French Parliament will launch an online questionnaire to better understand public opinion towards recreational cannabis use. Report detailing the results would be available towards the end of March or the beginning of April. So the goal is to inform debate as much as possible. The success of the survey will depend on the largest number of people possible participating. So currently the consumption, possession and sale of recreational marijuana is illegal in France, and estimated over a quarter of all adults in France have tried the drug, and 5 million people in France use cannabis at least once a month. So what is the bigger story here, Mike?
The bigger story is that France has to keep up with Germany. And so Germany is legal, if you're not familiar. Germany's legal medicinally for medical cannabis, and the government actually helps pay a portion of the cannabis for the medical cannabis. Also, there was a story that came out in October of last year, 2020, that people may have missed, is that Germany actually voted on legalizing recreational cannabis, and it did not pass. The reason it did not pass is we're just not there yet. But the reasoning behind writing the bill to try to get passed, and people will be shocked by this, is because the judges in the criminal justice system were so tired of so many cannabis cases coming in the system, is clogging up the system. They want to get rid of them.
So the Justice Department basically pushed them to
Basically, the Justice Department wants it legal, and you would never hear about that in America. It's just insane.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the fact that France is starting a pilot program for medical cannabis, and now they're asking questions about recreational cannabis, it's almost like the U.S. in the fact of all the states. Once one state goes legal for recreational, like New Jersey, you're going to have other states like New York is already talking about going legal, because now if France is illegal and Germany's legal, it starts to become unenforceable.
Well, this whole scenario reminds me of the Berlin Wall when I was in high school, and it came down, and you're like, all these huge cannabis walls are coming down, Germany falls, and then France, and and then everything kind of just starts moving forward. This great cannabis tsunami that's happening as we speak, and you guys are the ones that are making it happen.
Absolutely. So this is exciting, because the people watching this show, you guys are listening, you're looking to get into the business. This is now the time. You see all the walls are starting to come down, and as you'll see with our guest, with Irish, in talking about the pharmaceutical side, where it's going now and where it will start going here very, very shortly.
So I'm done with the news, Mike.
Okay.
That's it for today.
That's it for today's news. So now let's go ahead and bring in our wonderful, wonderful guest all the way from Israel. So go ahead, Mark, take it away.
Our guest today hails from the cannabis research capital of the world, Israel. This 178-centimeter tall cannabis titan is the CEO of Inacan Pharma, focusing on cannabinoid integrated pharmaceutical products. She has nearly 20 years experience in global business strategies, business development, and was former VP Global Marketing and Sales of Comedis Limited. When she's not leading the cannabis industry, you can find her walking on the beach, spending time with her husband, 3 boys, 1 girl, and a dog named Toffee. She lived in Portland, Oregon growing up, so she has a flannel shirt hanging in her closet. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm Cannabis Report welcome to Iris Benovich.
Hello, Iris. Can you hear us, Iris?
Can you hear us, Iris?
Hi.
Oh, hello. How are you? All the way. That's so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for listening through the news segment. I appreciate that, all from Israel. So definitely excited to have you on the show. And if you can, with Inacan, if you can give us a little background about Inacan and what you guys do.
So Inacan, first of all, is listed on the CSE under INNO. It's a pharmaceutical company that utilizes the therapeutic effect of cannabinoids in 3 different segments. We have our topicals, patent pending products that combine the anti-inflammatory effect, providing pain relief and different activities like antioxidants. We have our Relief and Go. This is the targeting pain. And on top of it, we have a unique system that actually able to inject CBD into the body and have a prolonged release. So instead of taking orally every day, orals or vape, you can have once a month injection and you have a controlled release into the blood. And the third thing is we are using bypass of stem cells to load them with CBD We are targeting the COVID-19 affected lungs and central nerve disease diseases. So these are three parts we are involved in.
And that's amazing. So just the for people who are listening, the CSE is the Canadian Securities Exchange. So you could find Inacan on the CSE. And then what's your ticker symbol?
It's INNO.
INNO. And then you're also on the exchange in Germany, correct?
Yes,
And
under IP4 in Frankfurt. And also you can find us at the OTC at the INNPF.
INNB is in boy? P is in Paul. Okay, INNP is in Paul, F is in Frank. And that's on the OTC markets. Okay, perfect. This is great. So yeah, this is amazing because a lot of people in America don't understand about the injectable side. So if you can, give us a little idea on how did that technology come along, and how did you were able to develop that? And then it's only CBD. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At this stage, we are doing only CBD. It's legalized. It's harmonized. You can use it. The idea came is to have accurate release, exact doses, and immediate effect. This goes on to all three pillars of the company: the topicals, Relief and Go, and the Sinoni, the cosmetic line, the injectable, and the stem cells exosome delivery. We saw, and I'm sure you are aware, a lot of people, when they are using different kinds of cannabinoids, they complain about an inconsistency.
Yes.
So we thought how to overcome this and take the cannabinoids and cannabis into pharma as much as possible. So locking this inside a capsule or correct formulation, this can enable results. I think the well-being of persons, regardless if they have pain or epilepsy or different kinds, result. This was the behind the encapsulation. You know, the CBD is an oil molecule, so you cannot just inject it into the blood. You can have like heart attack. It's like injecting olive oil. So we have to develop a very unique, innovative system. So we actually develop like little capsule that contain high load of CBD inside. This was very challenging because you cannot inject a whole liter of liquid. It has to be very concentrated.
That would probably not be good.
Yeah.
So imagine it's like an onion. Each layer and trap very high concentration of CBD. So one injection will open over a period of 3 weeks, a month, and you would have consistent release into the body.
So similar to like a women's birth control, is that kind of the similar action where there are women in the U.S., they will go and get birth control, an injection to like, or I'm sorry, like osteoarthritis, where you would have a rheumatoid arthritis, where you would get an injection every 3 months, and then it would, or steroids as well, kind of the same premise?
Exactly. It's much more sophisticated, but it's the similarity. It's similar. So you would have one injection and control release into the body. This is the target.
So let me ask you this, Iris. So with that medication specifically, what type of feedback are you getting from the physicians who order it for their patients?
So let's go back. We are in a R&D stage.
Okay.
Preclinical testing in mice and different animals.
Okay.
I think that the target is this year to start licensing deals.
Okay.
With different pharma companies. The company is only 3 years old.
Okay.
So we are just beginning.
No,
Just-
but Irish, you guys are you.
But just
you say
like the whole industry too.
right.
So,
You're hitting it. Like I'm excited because Inacan is, as you can tell with Irish, what they're doing is they're taking that at the professional level and they're running with it. And
well,
so
pharmaceutical level.
Thank you. So the pharmaceutical level, because it's critical, because based out of Israel, if you can kind of give our listeners and viewers an idea, what is the mentality dealing with cannabis research as a medicine compared to the United States?
So I think a year and a half ago, Israel had the most clinical studies regarding different kinds of cannabinoids. Over hundreds, 300, I think, different clinical studies was running. So it's very open, very progressed. You know that it was reinvented by Professor Meshulam from the Hebrew University, founded here in Israel after years. Everything, you probably know, a few years ago, everything was legal. 100 years ago, maybe. Everything was legal in the state. But Israel is a high-tech nation, a startup nation. So actually, it was very curious, but we came to Professor Chezi Bernholz. He already developed a kind of a capsule for Johnson & Johnson, which targeting breast cancer. And we told them, let's take this vehicle and use it for the cannabinoids, because we have the problem of non-consistent results, complain of patients, different kinds of strengths. So luckily for us, he took the challenge, and already we have a proof of concept in small animals, and we are getting step by step.
That's wonderful.
It's incredible. That's fantastic news.
It is, and also one of the things that I heard you say, and I'm summarizing, is that the pharmaceutical world is starting to wake up to say, well, we don't need to reinvent the wheel with cannabis. We can take our current structures and systems and just incorporate it, because that's the number one thing that I see with people coming to me about the cannabis space is you don't have to reinvent the wheel with this stuff. You just have to incorporate it into current structures, whether it be business, whether it be pharmaceutical, whether it be R&D. And I think with you based in Israel, and me dealing with people from Israel all the time due to cannabis, it's the only place in the world that really looks at this from a pharmaceutical aspect and looks at it more from a business aspect, rather than, I don't see a lot of the ideology coming out of Israel about being bad. Do you see any of that?
No, I think the benefit is very high. People understand. Of course, we have politics, but I think patients voted with their legs. Doctors know. It is still bureaucracy in order to get approval to have a weed or smoke or oil. Children is very openly used for different kinds of autism and disease. So I think combining science and the therapeutic benefit of CBD, let's take out the THC, I think it's a must.
Yeah, I agree. And
no doubt.
And the interesting thing is, it was so refreshing. You just say, let's just focus on science. And over here right now in the United States, we tend to be more the ideological aspect on everything. And so facts seem to kind of go by the wayside.
She lives in Portland and New York, right?
So,
yeah.
Also, Iris, tell us, in your opinion, where do you see the pharmaceutical cannabis market going over the next 5 years?
I think looking at Inocan reflect this, because we have our cosmetics, which again, we validate. We do clinical studies to show the wrinkle effect of incorporating cannabinoids with hyaluronic and other ingredients. We have our over-the-counter products that, again, we took FDA-approved ingredients based on the monograph and cannabinoids and combine it in a very sophisticated way with science. The same we do with our pharmaceutical. I think politics, regulation should understand the benefit of the CBD as important ingredients in various applications and go over there. It's starting. You see it in Europe. They legalized it. It's starting to move in a positive way.
It's coming.
Step by step.
It's
very
coming.
small step by step by step.
I get so excited, Iris, because like listening to you and you and I know a lot of the same people, and it's exciting because I just see this tsunami coming, and I see Inacan being one of those companies kind of leading that direction. And to me, we have to help people, guide them where this industry is going to go, because there's millions of people behind us, and we have to help guide them in the right place. And so I love what Inacan is doing. And then final question, what I'd like is this: can you give us an idea? How did you get started in the cannabis space?
So I have a degree in chemistry
Okay.
years ago, and I have experience in distributing cosmetics and topicals and medical device and pharmaceutical worldwide. Always innovation from Israel, targeting the world. So when we saw in Israel all the people who the cannabis helped them, assisting them, me and my co-partners, one of them, he was the CEO of Teva Pharmaceutical.
From
in
Teva
Israel.
Pharmaceuticals, yes. Teva, if you're not familiar, is huge out of Israel. They make a lot of generic pharmaceuticals, as far as I know. Is that correct?
Exactly,
Okay.
yes. So this is the leading company for generic medicine.
Leading company, okay.
So combining his strategy, Yoram Drucker is another co-founder. He's an Israeli entrepreneur. Combining our experience, we thought how we can make the cannabis more available from a pharma point of view. Listen, this was in 2017, in October. It was disrupting the market. Nobody really understand what we are doing, but now it's so self-explanatory. It took some time to people to understand, especially when we have a three-step strategy: our cosmetics, over-the-counter products, and injectable and stem cell. So it's something that it's not really common in the cannabis industry. We are more pharma, but utilizing the cannabinoids therapeutic benefits. So it was challenging in the beginning.
Oh, it's always challenging. But to me, you started and you took and I'm just summarizing here. You took your experience as a chemist and your background in your former life, and you were able to incorporate that into the cannabis space.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of people miss. They think they got to get rid of all their experience that they had before, and they can't bring anything into the cannabis space, and it's the exact opposite. You have to bring your experience in to bring value into this industry. This is absolutely wonderful. Iris Benkovich, please let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
It's a IRIS B like banana at inocanpharma.com, INNOCANPHRMA pharma.com.
And then how do they get in touch with you on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, it's just Iris Benkovich.
Iris
Binkovich.
Binkovich. Iris Benkovich of Inacan Pharma. Thank you so much, Iris, and I look forward to seeing you at the World CBD Awards this summer.
Thanks, Iris.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.
That's awesome.
Straight from Israel.
Right.
All right, Jesse, time for the tip of the day.
The Cannabis Entrepreneur Tip of the Day.
Cannabis Tip of the Day, sponsored by Hemp Synergistics. From intelligent hemp-based consumer products and ingredients, Hemp Synergistics is a biotechnology company whose goal is to make a meaningful difference in the hemp industry. For more information, go to hempsynergistics.com. Take it away, Mike.
So the cannabis tip of the day is the entrepreneurial is a vision board. If you haven't heard of the vision board, and basically a vision board is where you need to write down what you're going to do in this new career. It doesn't matter what it is. You need to have at least 300 things on a page. And so that may sound easy, but once you start going into it, it really you start to think about what you want to do, because
a goal without a dream is a wish.
Right. A goal without a dream is a wish.
Herman Edwards said that, NFL
He's an
coach,
NFL former
famous
coach.
NFL.
So to give you an idea, 300 is a little bit difficult, but you want to try to make them bigger and make them better. So if you're like, hey, I want to be in the cannabis space, well, what do you want to do? Where do you want to work? what are your goals? Do you want to make $1 gazillion? Do you want to develop a new product to be able to be used overseas? What would you like to do? And so to give people an idea about Vision Board, here is my Vision Board. If you're listening to it,
it's very high tech.
It's extremely high tech.
It's a legal pad.
It's a legal pad that's yellow. I didn't use a white one. That makes it more high tech.
Very specific, Mike.
So, and I made this last January 2020, and number 32 was to have my own podcast and have over 1 million followers or subscribers.
Number 33 was try to be better looking than his brother. But
Yes.
like I said, it's a work in progress.
I've already conquered that.
No, you haven't.
So that was fine.
Mom said
that was pretty much
that's
easy.
not right.
Well,
Okay.
she's not the right judge.
Okay.
And so that was number 32. Number 21 is to get on CNBC. Number 23 is to become a motivational speaker. Number 37 is to get on TV in China. Why? Because it'd be cool. So,
It would be cool.
Also, like let me see, number 51 is buy an electric car that goes over 500 miles because I'm real big on electric to be able to show people. Number 48 is make my parents proud of me. I've done that. And
Not
then,
as much as I have.
No, well, he always thinks it is. And then to give you an idea, another one is, let me see, let's go down the list a little bit. Number 92 is to meet the Prime Minister of Tanzania. And so currently we have a license.
I thought it was Tanzania.
It's Tanzania. You're right.
Tanzania,
So
Mike.
I say Tanzania, and then people in Africa said no, it's Tanzania. So I was like, okay. So anyway, to meet the prime minister, because we actually have one of our businesses, MGMC Pharma. We actually have a license in Tanzania, but I just think it'd be great to be able to meet that. So as you look at and going into your entrepreneurial journey, think about, you really need to think it through, because if you're like, hey, I just want to get in business. Okay, well, that's not good enough, because by writing these ideas down, you'll start to figuring out what direction you really want to move into, and then you go back and look at that and see how you're moving forward on your list. So you're probably not going to hit all of them right away, and I still have hundreds that I haven't done, but I know where I want to go now, and I have those goals listed. So
what that does also is, some people who want to get into business and they're going to nursing, I'm going to go to nursing school.
Right.
There are some programs that are coming online, but you know more about them than me, Mike. But basically with your vision board, that will kind of give you a blueprint about what you want to do and where you want to go, because you really don't have any guidance. And I remember when Mike was starting this journey, is that there was no guidance. I mean, you just kind of had to figure it out, because this is so new. We're at the beginning of the green tsunami, so there's just nothing out there. So the vision board is definitely your way to go.
Well, and also to give you an idea of what my vision was when I started, the main thing is I want to be able to have a little bit of oversight, or a little bit of control, whatever you want to call it. I want a little piece of every part of the industry. So that means with cultivation, with processing, with international trade, with banking, with finance, with research, with education. I wanted to play in the entire space, because through my company, U.S. Cannabis Pharmaceutical, we want to be able to move society forward through legalized cannabis. And so I feel society will be better as more people use cannabis. And the only way to do that across a societal level is to really have a finger in all aspects of the industry, because that way you can hopefully move or shape the industry by having a finger in all those aspects. And that's the reason we do what we do, is to be able to sit there and really make concrete future change for the positive.
And you did say that was a humongous milestone for us to start this podcast, and basically it's kind of the first time that I'm on screen in this kind of business. So we were very, very excited, and that is definitely a huge milestone. Definitely wanted to check off.
Yes, absolutely. So that is our definite tip of the day. And then with that, if you have questions and things like that, you can DM me on LinkedIn, Michael Patterson, U.S. Cannabis Pharmaceutical, if you have certain questions. I try to help as many people as I can. I do a lot of work with university students to help them kind of guide and where they want to go. But if you have any questions, you can definitely DM me on LinkedIn.
All right, Jesse, going to the Cannabis Champion of the Week.
The Cannabis Champion of the Week.
Guy's got a great voice. Cannabis Champion of the Week, sponsored by the World CBD Awards. If you want to be a part of the world's only objective product awards competition, the World CBD Awards Conference and Gala is for you. For more information, go to worldcbdawards.com.
Okay, we've got for Cannabis Champion of the Week is out of the UK or England, and we have Professor and Physician Mike Barnes. Consultant neurologist and medical cannabis expert, Professor Mike Barnes has dedicated his career to the development of neurological rehabilitation and medical cannabis treatments and education. For over 30 years within the senior roles of the NHS, which is the healthcare system of the UK, and independent neurorehabilitation services, Professor Barnes became interested in the medical applications of cannabis with the progression of Sativex to the market. Sativex is a drug that has been approved in the United States and is cannabis-based through a company called GW Pharmaceuticals. He signed off as an expert report to the medicines and healthcare products to the regulatory agency, which was subsequently used with more recent evidence to establish Sativex, a cannabis extract which alleviates symptoms of multiple sclerosis in over 30 countries. In 2018, Professor Barnes was the first UK doctor to successfully negotiate a medical cannabis prescription from the government for Alfie Dingley. Professor Barnes chairs the Medical Cannabis Clinicians Society, a not-for-profit society providing training, expert and guidance, and peer support for clinicians prescribing life-changing medical cannabis treatments in the UK. He supports the End Our Pain campaign as a trustee of the United Patients Alliance and the lobby group Clear for Cannabis Law Reform. If you want to get a hold of Professor Mike Barnes, you can reach him on LinkedIn at Michael Barnes, Maple Tree Consultancy. So I want to thank Professor and Physician Mike Barnes for doing what he does for the industry.
Thank you, Mike Barnes. And for you, that's just one other person in the CA30K, Compassionate Army.
Right. So I encourage everybody to follow me on LinkedIn. It's Michael Patterson, U.S. Cannabis Pharmaceutical. Also, I use the hashtag Compassionate Army because that's what we are. Everybody who follows us on LinkedIn and follows this show and subscribes on YouTube, is definitely somebody we want to be a part of, and we want to build together because we really feel like this is definitely going to grow and grow and grow, and we can definitely impact society. And that's the way it is in the world of cannabis today. The power of change is within all of us. The world changes with we change. We had such a great time today. I want to thank everybody for visiting.
I had a good time today, Mike.
And always remember,
Jesse, did you have a good time today? He said thumbs up.
And always remember, we are all we need.